Good morning and welcome to Eurostat's webinar series. I'm Dean Vuletic, an Information and Communication Officer in Eurostat, and I'm your moderator for this webinar. Today, we're going to give you the keys to unlocking informed decisions with high-quality statistics. We'll look at how Eurostat data can affect our daily lives and what makes Eurostat statistics reliable. You'll get to know more about how Eurostat works to provide high-quality statistics, and you'll learn how to find the information you're looking for on Eurostat's website. In a world that's faced with complex issues that can be difficult to understand, statistics provided by Eurostat support the work of journalists, decision makers, and fact checkers all over the EU and beyond. Eurostat data is available to everyone and free of charge, so it can also help EU citizens to make evidence-based decisions, better understand the trends in many of Europe's sectors, and stay informed ahead of the European elections. Today, you'll be able to directly ask our experts questions about all of these issues. Please send the questions to us via slido.com. The Slido code is #3961697. You can see the link here on the screen and on the Eurostat stream page. On Slido, you'll also find a short survey to give us feedback on this webinar. Remember, this webinar is being recorded, so you'll be able to access it later on the Eurostat website. Now to our experts. It's a pleasure for me to introduce our first speaker, Martina Skočková, who is the Deputy Head of the Unit for Dissemination and User Support in Eurostat.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to this Eurostat webinar. Thank you for finding the time to join us. Now, over the past few years, the amount of content we are consuming has significantly increased, largely due to social media. Eurostat data from last year show that around 60% of people in the European Union participate in social networks. That includes all demographic segments. This number reaches as many as 91% in Denmark and 81% in Hungary. Whether in social media or other channels, many Europeans are daily exposed to non-verified content and fake news. According to the latest Eurobarometer survey, 68% of European citizens agree that they often encounter news or information which they believe misrepresent reality or are false. Combating fake news and verifying information has become more important than ever. While our mission in Eurostat is not to comment or interfere with social media content or media content in general, we are here to provide content creators and decision makers with data and facts. For more than 70 years, Eurostat has been collecting and disseminating official statistics on Europe. We do this through a partnership between Eurostat and the statistical offices and authorities in the EU member states and in the 4 EFTA countries. Our statistical data are independent, impartial, and comparable. As you will hear soon in more detail, part of our mission is to ensure that the statistics we collect are of the highest quality, accurate, reliable, and disseminated in a timely manner. We are here today to tell you more about how European statistics are built and reviewed by us and how you can benefit from them in your daily work. And because the statistical collection of Eurostat is vast and complex, we will show you concretely with a few examples how to find the statistical data you are looking for. Before I hand over back to Dean, I would like to mention that as part of our effort to combat misinformation during the European elections, we have put in place a special service for journalists and fact-checkers. For a limited time period until 15th of June, Eurostat now provides a dedicated media support that prioritizes requests related to the European elections. And now over to you, Dean.
Thank you for the introduction, Martina. Now that you know more about what Eurostat does, how can you be sure that its statistics are reliable? Now, to give us answers to that, we have Avis Benesh, the head of the Unit for Strategy and Programming and European Statistical System Governance. Avis will speak about the European statistical system and the quality standards safeguarding quality in statistics. Take it away, Avis.
Thank you very much, Dean. Good morning to everyone. A pleasure to be here, and indeed great that you could allocate some time for Eurostat on this, well, rainy morning in Luxembourg, hopefully nicer elsewhere. Indeed, I'm heading the unit which is incorporating the quality aspect from this year onwards. And my short presentation is basically, so to say, taste and a side dish to the main course from my colleague later, and it does answer this part on the high quality statistics. What does it actually mean? So I think the slides are somewhere to be shown indeed. So this was the first slide. We can move along to the next one. Indeed, this is the structure of the content. And don't worry, it will not go in too deep in any of those due to the limited time, available time. You can see also the poster that we used. You will hear later about one of the important quality tools that Eurostat implements together with the other members of the European statistical system. This was the peer review, and this poster, which says "Facts Matter," was one of these posters that were used. And as we also heard from our two introductory speakers, hopefully we live in the world where majority of people still subscribe to this aspect that facts matter, although we can see that some erosion is in force at the moment, unfortunately. Next slide. So this is not knowing the backgrounds of all the viewers. This is maybe some very basic slide. Who develops, produces, and disseminates European statistics? The key abbreviation to remember here is the ESS, European Statistical System. It is a very strong partnership between all EU member states, their national statistical institutes, and their systems within the country. So 27 4 EFTA countries as well as Eurostat. And what makes we are all the time talking about this European statistics, European official statistics, what makes it so different from other statistics or instant data, so to say? And this is the word that is dominating this presentation, but in general, something that people in the European statistical system are quite proud of. This is this quality aspect. And this is one of the European statistics comparative advantages in a world which is indeed experiencing this growing trend of instant information or disinformation. And also, this is something that is very important to tackle in this continuous need for faster data, but also quality assured data. So to say, high quality European statistics is indeed valuable in the world which is flooded by all those information. And this presentation aims at explaining why this European official statistics is a guardian of these facts influenced by disinformation. Next slide, please. This slide is something that is, well, maybe not the most visually attractive slide that you have ever seen, but it is important because indeed this presentation stays forward, and to be aware of the general framework that enables this quality framework. Statistics is present in the Treaty of Functioning of the EU, as you could see. Then this Regulation 223 is basically our statistical law. That is something which also incorporates the 6 principles. And then we have sectoral, domain-specific legislation for each area of statistics, business statistics, population statistics, etc. And these are, of course, legally binding. And then we have this aspect, which is not so legally binding, so to say. It's basically self-commitment and self-regulation by the members of ESS, and it's a very let's say, very much enforced and hold dear aspect of self-commitment. And there, some of these cornerstones would be European Statistics Code of Practice, Quality Assurance Framework, and this sectoral legislation. This code of practice will be mentioned also further, basically to say it's a cornerstone, it's the holy book of the ESS quality framework. Not as extensive as many holy books are. It's about 18 pages, and it's something that is, so to say, 21st century invention or development in the areas of statistics. It was established in 2005, and since then it had 2 more revisions. Next slide, please. And here you can see basically kind of visually the pyramid of this ESS quality framework to have the sense of the levels which exist there. Principles and indicators which are enshrined in this code of practice, which is on your left-hand side, is this levels 1 and 2. And then, and this is, by the way, a brochure which you can see, download, and find in all the EU official languages on our website. And then when we come to the level 3, this is basically a quality assessment framework book or set of principles, which is a bit thicker, and it goes in more details about actual implementation, details, good practices, operational matters. So it's not just about the theory, but rather concrete practice altogether, and also the methods how to implement all these principles. And the level 4 is the sectorial one. Next slide, please. And so yes, these are this level 1 and 2. So these 16 principles, 84 indicators. Don't worry, we will not go through all of them. And you can see that they are largely basically divided between institutional environment, statistical processes, and statistical output. Each of them could be a presentation for itself, and these are, but really just to be aware of how much emphasis is put on these commitments to quality, especially to emphasize statistical confidentiality, meaning that it is the essence of statistical functioning that any individual data which enters the system will never go out as an individual data, but only in an aggregated manner. There are all these commitments to quality, impartiality, objectivity. We can say, well, they are all more or less equally important, but there are some that are really, really we hold dear and put a special emphasis on it, and they are, so to say, maybe emphasized in red altogether. The code overall seeks to ensure the statistics is produced within the European statistical system, that it's relevant, timely, accurate. We heard this also in the beginning, that it's also very high emphasis on impartiality and objectivity. And the ultimate aim of this code, why all this exists and why this elaborated system exists, is to ensure that there is a high quality produced statistics. and that this high quality is also perceived as high quality and that it merits the trust of the users. Next slide, please. This is only one example of these indicators, and we will not go through all of these indicators, but just to say that this is something that definitely should be extra emphasized, because this professional independence is one of the cornerstones of the quality in statistics, meaning and to emphasize that it is a professional independence. That does not mean that the statistical offices are functioning completely independently. Of course, all these institutes for statistics are part of the wider public administration. Sometimes, depending on the political structure of the country, they are connected either whether responsible to the parliament, prime minister, various ministries, etc. So organizationally, they are of course part of the system, but the essence is in this professional independence, and the heads of statistical authorities have the sole responsibility for deciding on statistical methods, standards, and procedures, which is the fundamental issue in terms of this independence. And one thing at the end, which was also added in the latest revision of this code of practice, is that the procedures for recruitment and appointments of the people who are heading these statistical institutes are done in a transparent way and based only on professional criteria. There's a lot that one can be talking. I can see that Dean is throwing some glances about the time-wise, so let's go to the next slide, please. Or I'm just imagining. Okay, all these things are good in theory, of course. That sounds excellent. However, what counts, as we know in life, is implementation. And how is this realized, and how is this actually implemented within the European statistical system? So one of the key tools, quality tools as a review mechanisms are so-called peer reviews. This is the very long-lasting waves of peer reviews which were being implemented after each revision of the code of practice. So 3 times so far. The latest just finished, or is in, so to say, finishing phase at the moment. And these peer reviews, they are basically evaluating compliance with the code of practice in each country. And on our website, you can see for each country, for your own country, what is the state of play in your country, if you're interested, how the code of practice is actually implemented. And the objective is to enhance the integrity, to enhance professional independence and accountability of the ESS. But also, it's the combining this audit approach, meaning that there is a need for everything that is stated, there is a need to substantiate it with the actual documents and practices, but also there is this peer review approach, meaning that the experts are also going through the process of exchanges, of lessons learned, all this basically in the principle, ESS principle of continuous improvement. This is something that is again held very dear in terms of the principle, and basically based on the recommendation for each country, there are reports. And then each country develops, each national statistical system and each national statistical institute develops the improvement actions. And Eurostat will be the one to basically follow up, annually monitor this improvement action. But not to think that this is Eurostat only. It is the combination of the experts, external, internal experts, and also Eurostat is being reviewed as well. It's not exempted from this process, and the body which reviews Eurostat is so-called ESGAB, basically European Statistical Governance Advisory Board. no time to go into depth on this. So next slide, please. And this is basically the last slide, saying that why is it important in a world of distorted facts or post-truths to have this fact-based data and to have such a strong mechanism as the European statistical system has on the quality. I will not go into all of this, but summa summarum, it's a basis for informed decisions or objective insights in all spheres of life. And for all the questions, I will be available later. And basically, the idea is not for you to quickly absorb all these aspects, but just to be aware at this point how much is invested into this aspect of high quality statistics in Eurostat. In all this trust, reliability, and credibility. And finally, just to talking about the quality, last sentence is that every 2 years, the world of statistics gathers in a special place and has the quality conference, and the one that will be coming very soon from 4th to 7th of June is taking place in Estoril, Portugal, in partnership with our Portuguese colleagues, and registration is still open if you're interested, so you can apply. So I will stop here and back to you, Dean.
Thank you, Avis, for explaining the European statistical system and its quality safeguards. Now let's learn how to find what we're looking for on the Eurostat website. Our expert for that is Margarita de Carval from Eurostat's Media and User Support Team. The floor is yours, Margarita.
Thank you, Dean. So my name is Margarita Domingos de Carvalho, and I work here in the media support, providing data and information to the journalists. And today I'm going to show you a bit how to find data in Eurostat website. So now I'm going to share my screen with you. So here you can see Eurostat webpage, and from here you can access all the resources available in Eurostat. So all the data and metadata publications, everything, you can find it by the homepage. So here on the top, you have the menu where you can access the different resources, data, news, publications. You have information about Eurostat and the statistical system. You have the contact us options, and you also have the help menu. So if you scroll a bit down, you have here some EU key indicators, the selection of important indicators like the inflation rate for the EU, the GDP growth and employment rates. Then you can see the access to the database and the statistical teams, interactive publications, the data visualizations. You can also find here the latest news we published about different topics. If you want to check all the news, you can also come here to the view all, and you'll be redirected to all the news we have published. If you continue to scroll down, you have also direct accesses to the release calendar and the other resources like the Statistics Explained articles, experimental statistics, and so on. You have here some in focus topics, the European Statistical Monitor, and so on. So from the home page, you can access all the resources available. Now I'm going to show you an example how you can find and extract data. We are going to pick a EU key indicator. You have here the food inflation rate. So we can see that for March 2024, it was 1.2 for the EU. If you click here, you are redirected to the data set with all the data for all the countries and all the time series. If you want, you can download this data here. You come here, you download the spreadsheet. But if you want to change the countries or the time, you can also come here, you click, and you can customize your selection. So you can change the countries, select more or select less than what it was shown by default. You have also here the aggregates. so the different EU and Euro area aggregates. And then here in the countries, there is also an option to select only the EU countries. So show current EU, check all, or uncheck all if you don't want, show all, because as you can see here, you have other countries that are non-EU countries. So you select your countries. Then here you can also select the time. There are different options to select the time. Fixed time from starting from a certain period, finishing another period. The rolling time option allows you to start in a specific time period, and it will be automatically updated every time there is new data. And then you save and go to the data view. So here you have the data set that with the countries and time period that you just selected. You can share this specific view, so save, you can share it or save it, and it will be this view of the table, so your selection, and you can also download it in an Excel file. And you'll have a file with the table that you just created. So just with the countries you have selected and with the time period you selected. So we have here annual rate of change for food. Now, if you go back to the table and you want, let's imagine you want the total inflation or the inflation for other products, you can also click here and you have the full list of products. So you can select the total, all items like GCP. You can select other products, coffee, tea, whatever you want, beer, and then you save and you go back. And now you will have here this drop-down menu with the different products. So if you change, you'll see the inflation for tea, for milk, and the total inflation for your selection. So if you download now the file, you'll have one table for each product. So now you see you have each product that you have selected is in one different table: food, fresh milk, oil, and so on. If you want to have all this data in the same table, it is also possible. You can drag this box here to the column or to the row. You'll drag it here, and now you can see that the view is the country, and then for each country or aggregate, you have the different products. And now if you download this view, you'll have just one table with all your selections. So you have here the countries and the products and the time period. So depending on how you want to show your data, what you want to show, you can customize your table. You can also put the time here if you prefer, and the countries here. You can do it the way you prefer. So what you see here in page, it will be shown. It will be shown in the different in the different tables in the Excel file. So an important thing to consider, it's also here the metadata file. So on the top of the page, you can see here the link to the explanatory texts. And then these directs you to the metadata file where you find always important information about the data collection, about the calendar, about the release, the coverage, the base period. All the metadata is here. Now I'm going back to the Eurostat homepage, and I'm going to show you how to find the same data in a different way. So you can come here to the statistical teams, and here you see all the teams for which we have data. On the left side, you have the main categories, economy and finance, population, industry, and so on. And here you have the detailed topics. So the one we were checking, it is here under economy and finance. And then you have here the harmonized index of consumer prices. And here you are redirected to the page dedicated to HICP, where you can find not only the data, but all the resources related to the topic. You have visualizations. You have all the publications dedicated to this. So you have the Euro indicators releases, the news articles, Statistics Explained articles. You have the methodology here as well. So you have how the aggregates are produced. So all the information you need to know about the data can be found in the page dedicated to the topic. If you go to the database, you'll find here the same data set that we just checked. And here, by default, we see the total HICP, but we can also come here and select food. Again, we can select the countries that we want, just a few, all of them. You can select, for example, the EU countries. As you can see here, we have a selection from 25 and 28 in 45. And here you have, again, the same table, so the inflation for food. If you are familiar with the topics and with the database, you can also go directly here to the database. And here you go and you can find the same table again here and here. So there are different ways to access the same data, depending also on what you want and if you need more information or just go directly to the data. There is also here a search function where we can write inflation and you'll have all the results, news article, data sets, or you can also write HICP and you have all the results here, search, and you have here the access to the different resources on HICP. Another thing that I wanted to show you is and to which there is a direct link here, it's the release calendar, where you can find all the releases that we are going to publish. So you have the different topics here. You can select your topic. You can also select here list and you will see the full month. So it shows you the past publications, but also what we are going to publish. So for the ones that already happened, you have a direct link to what was published. So here it was a news article. If you click, you'll be redirected to the news article. Here it was the update of a Statistics Explained article. And this is very useful to see what we are going to publish in the coming weeks and months. Finally, I would like to show you here also the options to contact us. If you have any question, you have here the contact us, and you have the option for the user support in the different languages, the fact-checking services, the press services, so you have, and the institutional services. We also have we are also present in social media, so you can also click here if you are interested in following Eurostat on this Facebook, Instagram, and so on. And we also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to, and the alerts function, which is also very useful because you can customize the alerts you receive. You can select the topics you want and the type of product you are interested in, so data or publications, articles, and then you'll be notified when there is something new published. And that's it for now. I hope this was useful, and if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, Margarita, for giving us that guidance. It certainly was very useful. And now it's time to invite our audience to ask questions. Remember that you can send us questions via slido.com. The code is #3691697. If we don't manage to answer all of your questions now, we'll follow up and send you answers. As part of the question and answer session, Martina, Avis, and Margarita will take the stage. These three experts are ready to answer your questions, so remember slido.com #3691697. So let's start with our first question. Avis, this one's for you. How strong is the system of quality? How strong is the quality system, and do mistakes still happen?
Thank you, Dean, and thank you, whoever asked the question. Indeed, mistakes do happen, as for those who like dead languages, errare humanum est, it's human to make mistakes, and the statistical system is not exempt from it. So as you can see, there is a lot of investment into this self-commitment, self-regulatory mechanism. These peer reviews go into a lot of, but they are also principal details. But then there is also errors that happen, of course, in a statistical production. And it's a good question because there is also the system of for example, Eurostat has its policy on error management. And meaning that it acknowledges that the errors can happen, and the errors can happen, but there is this culture of, so to say, error management in Eurostat, basically, that there are annual reports about these errors and there are regular reports about this error, and admitting that they do happen, but with the purpose to learn from these errors in order to continuously improve. So to go into the analysis of how the errors are made, the causes can be different. There are IT-made errors, there are human-made errors, there are the errors in releases, etc. They're not overly large, from what I know, in terms of the annual numbers, but nevertheless, it requires a constant effort on the side of the institutions, and I can mostly talk about Eurostat here, about raising the awareness of the staff, how the errors are dealt with, the importance to continuously improve, the importance to continuously report those errors, and have the constant documentation of those all together. And not the least, there is also, the colleagues are always very keen to follow the 4I principle in everything that is being done in terms of production of statistics. So to answer in a very short way, of course, it's not a completely 100% bulletproof system, but it's the system that puts a lot of effort in making sure on all levels, whether it's from the top levels of the principles to the actual very detailed data production levels, to reduce these errors or mistakes, as are called, to the absolute minimum. So I hope that partially answers your question.
Thank you very much, Avis. Now a question for Margarita. In the example you showed regarding the HICP, is it possible to select all the categories from all the variables and display all the data at the same time?
Let's see if it's possible, because okay, it's as you could see for the HICP, for the products, there were more than 400 products. So, but I'm going to share my screen and to show you how this can be done. So, okay, let's go back. So to the, here we access the data here. So if we select all countries and all aggregates, and then here all products, so it's 467 categories here, so it is a lot. You can see already that it is not possible. There is here an error message that is more than 1 million cells, so it is not possible. But we can, for example, check all the products, and then here in the countries, maybe we can select a bit less, few countries, and then we save and go. And here in this case, as we have here the 400 products, maybe it would be easier to put it here. So yes, so we can have the full list of products for a selection of countries. So it is not possible, I mean, in an Excel file, because then there are other ways to download the data. You can download it in a CSV, so you download everything. But if you want to have a traditional Excel table with the lines and columns, so in this case, no, it is not possible to put everything in the same table. But you can put all the products, and then you just have to limit a bit your selection for the countries. And I see, Dean, I see there is another question that maybe I can already answer, which is, I saw it here, if it's possible to visualize the data in a graph. So yes, here, when you are looking at, we are looking at a table, but you have here different options for graphs. Here, bar graph 2, and we also have the map. So, okay, yeah. So, okay, I had a limited selection of countries, so it was Italy, but yes, so you have here already options that you can also work with, different graphs and line graph, bar graph. So yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Margarita. Now, another question for Avis. You mentioned the last round of peer reviews. Could you give us a general overview of the results?
Thank you, Dean, and thank you to the viewer. Well, actually, it's a super right timing for this question, because this week we are planning to publish to all on our website the final report, but all the reports, as I said, from the countries are already there. There are some also improvement actions already. I mean, overall, this was a huge endeavor, as you can imagine, in 31 country plus Eurostat. And what came out of it is it's interesting that basically only around 12% of these recommendations that were given in this round of peer reviews were relating to the compliance of the code of practice, in a sense of that the countries must take action to improve it. So overall, the situation is not that bad, not bad at all, actually. And all other recommendations relate to the possible improvements in the implementation of the code of practice and how to go forward. Because of course, such an endeavor and such exercise motivates people to think further, how to improve, how to innovate, etc. And there are some general areas, and I say this This will be officially announced this week, but one can say that there are some general areas where one can also develop further. And for example, in some areas of revision of the legal framework, in the areas of the innovation, that maybe more cooperation with the research community should be implemented all together in a more coordinated way. And also something that one can never have enough user engagement, something that we are also doing now, but certainly some areas to improve in the future.
Thank you for that, Arvis. Now let's move on to our next question, which will be on spatial datasets, and that one goes to Margarita. Do you also provide spatial datasets? Is the question from our viewer.
Okay, so I mean, we have tools that allow you to visualize the data. So we have our data is at country level, so it is like spatial somehow, because you have all the EU countries, and we also have regional data, so by NUTS regions. So I already show you in a data set how you can visualize the data in a graph or in a map, but we also have tools. So I'm going to show you again, to share my screen with you again. So we have the GISCO tools, and with different options to create maps. So as you can see here, tools, and then you have the map generator, and you have different tools to create a map visualization of a special visualization of Eurostat national or regional data. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Margarita. A question now that I think Arvis could answer. Could you comment more on how the partnerships between Eurostat and the statistical bureaus work, especially in the case of population censuses?
Thank you. Thank you, Dean. This is not, so to say, strictly quality-related question, but I can give you, and I'm not a population expert, but I can give you the general answer, which maybe satisfy part of your interest. Basically, there is a very strong partnership between Eurostat and the EU member states. And not just in the area of census and population, but in so many other areas. Let's say the backbone of architecture of work of between the member states and Eurostat are these so-called working groups, which are regularly meeting a few times a year. And we just had the, so to say, census round of 2021, where a majority of countries, whether in 21, whether afterwards, because of course there was a COVID, have implemented their censuses. And there was a very strong level of coordination. Saying very strong level of coordination does not mean that everybody implemented absolutely the same methodology. This also depends on the countries, but there are some general principles that everyone has adhered to. And I believe that that the results of these population censuses can also be found on our website. So I will stop here.
Thank you very much, Arvis, for the explanation. And one last question, Martina, this one's for you. Are there predictions, trends based on the data that are also available?
As was mentioned already before, Eurostat, in Eurostat, we do not interpret the data, we do not comment on them. So as such, we do not have projections and trends. We do have, as far as I know, we have population projections, which can be found on our website. This is, as far as I know, this is the only projections we have.
Thank you, Martina. And with that, we wrap up today's seminar on unlocking informed decisions with high quality statistics. We hope that we leave you with many keys on how to unlock these. So thank you to our speakers, Martina, Avis, and Margarita, and to you, our viewers, for joining us and sending questions. And please participate in our feedback survey via Slido. There you can also find the address to contact our multilingual user support if you have further questions. We hope to see you again for our next seminar on Sustainable Development Goals, which will take place on Thursday, the 20th of June. For now, from Eurostat in Luxembourg, I'm Dean Vuletic, wishing you a wonderful day.